Have you ever been there? You know, you're pretty advanced with your English, maybe C1 level. You understand so much. Complex ideas, nuance, the vocabulary's all in your head.
Right, you've done the work.
Exactly. But then, boom, high-stakes moment.
Yeah.
Job interview, maybe a debate, presentation.
Yeah, the pressure's on.
And you know exactly what you want to say. The words are right there. But then you open your mouth and it's like there's this gap, this really frustrating disconnect.
It just doesn't come out the way you planned it in your head.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's halting. Maybe your mind blanks.
Yeah.
And suddenly your spoken English feels like, well, a shadow of what you actually know. That gap feels like the final boss for a lot of advanced learners.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly common and, yeah, genuinely frustrating. You hear the advice, just practice more, speak more.
Right, standard advice.
But what if it's not just more practice? What if it's about a fundamentally different kind of practice? What if the key isn't just what you say out loud, but what you do first, up here, in your mind?
Okay, that's interesting. If more practice isn't the whole story, what else is there? You're saying the mind's the key. Tell me more about this different kind of practice.
We're talking about visualization. And let's be clear, this isn't fuzzy, wishful thinking.
Right, not just daydreaming about being fluent.
No. It's a structured, deliberate technique. Mental rehearsal. Think about elite athletes, you know, or top musicians, even surgeons.
They all use it, right, to prepare.
Exactly. They use visualization to build muscle memory, handle the pressure, basically hardwire success into their brains before the actual event. They're training their minds first.
So you're saying we can actually use that same power for language learning. That's what we're diving into today.
Precisely. Our mission for you today is to really unpack the science, the why it works for language, then give you a practical toolkit, some specific techniques for those C1 challenges. We'll share some stories of learners who've really broken through using this, and then look at some advanced strategies to push towards that C2 level. It's about finding your sort of unseen advantage, learning to see your way to fluency.
All right, this sounds really promising, but let's pin it down. If we're going to use visualization for language, what exactly are we talking about? How's it different from just, imagining things?
Good question. So at its core, visualization is the conscious, structured practice of creating really vivid, multisensory experiences in your mind.
Multisensory, okay.
Yeah, you're running a detailed simulation of a future event, like it's happening right now. The key difference from daydreaming is the intent and the detail.
Intent and detail.
You're not just vaguely picturing being fluent. You're mentally rehearsing the specific sights, sounds, feelings, the actual words of a successful conversation or presentation.
Okay, that makes sense. It's deliberate. So what's happening in the brain when we do this? Does the brain kind of buy it? Treat it like it's real?
It's actually astonishing how similar the brain's reaction is. There are neuroscientific studies, fMRI scans. They show when an athlete imagines lifting weights or a pianist imagines playing a piece, the same neural pathways light up as when they're physically doing it.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, and that has huge implications for language learning. Your brain is basically running a reality simulator.
A reality simulator. Okay, so if the brain treats these imagined experiences almost like real ones, what are the big benefits for us language learners?
Yeah.
Especially dealing with that C1 anxiety.
Well, first off, it strengthens your neural pathways. Every time you speak English, you're using a specific network of neurons, right? For finding words, building sentences, moving your mouth.
Sure.
When you mentally rehearse a conversation, you're firing up those exact same networks. It's like practice, but internal. It strengthens those connections, makes them faster, more efficient, like building neural superhighways for speech.
Superhighways, I like that.
And it's all part of neuroplasticity, the brain changing itself based on experience, even imagined experience.
That's pretty incredible. So it's strengthening the internal wiring. What about the anxiety? That feeling that just shuts you down sometimes.
Yeah, visualization hits that directly. You know Stephen Krashen's idea of the affective filter?
The emotional block.
Right. Anxiety, self-doubt, they create this filter that blocks language performance. Visualization helps lower that filter. By running successful simulations in your mind, that scary job interview or that big presentation, it starts to feel less like a terrifying unknown and more like a familiar script. Your brain's been there before.
So it reduces the fear factor.
Exactly. It lowers the stakes, reduces stress hormones like cortisol, and lets you actually access the English you know much more easily when the real moment comes.
Okay, so we're simulating strengthening pathways, reducing anxiety. But speaking is physical too, right? All those mouth muscles.
Yeah.
How does visualization connect there?
Great point. Speaking is physical. It involves coordinating over 100 muscles, tongue, lips, jaw, everything. When you visualize speaking, say, forming a tricky IS sound, you're actually priming those muscles. You're mentally rehearsing the physical movements.
So you're building motor memory.
Precisely. Motor memory for clear pronunciation, for getting the rhythm and intonation, the prosody, right? It's like a silent warm-up for your mouth.
And what about just plain old memory, like remembering vocabulary? I remember stories or images way better than just lists.
You're spot on. Our brains are wired for stories and images. Think about learning a word like precarious.
Okay.
You could memorize the definition: not securely held or in position, dangerously likely to fall or collapse.
Standard dictionary definition.
Or you could vividly visualize a really old, rickety rope bridge swaying dangerously precariously over a deep canyon. Feel a little lurch in your stomach, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I get you that.
Which one do you think sticks better? By attaching these vivid mental images, these mini stories, to words and grammar, you create powerful, memorable hooks.
Okay, the science is definitely compelling. So for listeners thinking, right, I'm C1, I want to try this, what are the actual steps? What's in this visualization toolkit?
Okay, let's get practical. First technique, the successful conversation rehearsal. This one's key for building confidence and making responses more automatic in situations that, usually cause stress.
Okay, I can see that. So you pick a specific scene that makes you anxious.
Yeah.
Like that performance review or maybe a networking event.
Exactly. Pick something specific, find a quiet spot, close your eyes, and really set the stage in your mind.
Get the stage. Build the environment. What does the room look like? What are the sounds? Maybe the smell of coffee. Engage the senses. Then bring in the characters. Visualize who you're talking to. See their faces. Imagine them being receptive, listening.
Right. And then
you press play on your mental movie.
Okay. And when I press play, what am I focusing on? You see yourself speaking calmly, clearly. Hear your own voice sounding confident. You understand what they're saying, the nuances. And when it's your turn to speak, the right words just flow effortlessly. And here's a really crucial part. Focus on the feeling. Feel the confidence. Feel the ease, the connection, the success. If there's one tricky part you dread, like disagreeing politely, rehearse just that bit over and over until it feels natural in your mind. It's emotional conditioning, too,
That focus on the feeling sounds powerful.
Yeah.
Like reprogramming your gut reaction. Okay, what about pronunciation? That's often a subtle C1 thing, intonation, tricky sounds.
Yeah, for that we use the mental mouth technique. At C1, it's often about refining things, word stress, maybe linking sounds, vowel nuances, like ship versus sheep.
Oh yeah, classic ones.
Or stress patterns, like record the noun versus record the verb. Or connected speech, like going to becoming gonna.
So you isolate one of those tricky bits. Then what? You mentioned watching experts.
Right. You could use something like Youglish to find a native speaker saying the word or phrase. Watch their mouth closely. How does it move?
Okay.
Then close your eyes. Create this super clear close-up image of your own mouth in your mind. Mentally rehearse making that sound or saying that word. Feel your tongue moving. Feel the shape of your lips. Imagine the airflow.
Feel it.
And at the same time, hear the perfect sound in your mind's ear. Do that repetition maybe 10, 15 times before you even try saying it out loud. You're priming the physical action.
Wow. Okay. That's drilling down to the physical mechanics mentally. Very cool. And vocabulary. We talked about memory hooks, avoiding that awful rote memorization for advanced words.
Exactly. Rote learning is just draining. So technique 3 is vocabulary cinema. Making little mental movies. Remember precarious?
Yeah, the rickety bridge.
Let's take another one. Maybe pernicious means harmful, but in a subtle, gradual way.
Okay, pernicious.
Instead of just the definition, create a 30-second mental film. Picture a beautiful, thriving garden. Then you notice this one little weed looks harmless enough. You ignore it.
Oh.
Fast forward mentally. That same weed, that pernicious weed, has silently spread everywhere, choking the life out of the flowers. And crucially, feel the regret, the sense of damage from something so subtle. Now, pernicious isn't just a definition. It's linked to that image, that story, that feeling.
That makes it so much more sticky. It becomes an experience. What about complex grammar? Making those advanced structures finally feel natural, not like you're calculating a formula.
Right. The grammar machine technique helps here. Advanced grammar often feels weird just because you haven't used it enough in meaningful contexts. Take a structure like, had I known, the past. Unreal conditional. Expresses regret about the past.
Okay, had I known.
Create a scenario dripping with that feeling. Imagine you're chilling at home. Your phone buzzes Instagram story. It's your friends at a surprise pop-up concert for your absolute favorite band. Happened an hour ago.
Oh no. Gut punch.
Exactly. You see their happy faces, hear the music faintly, feel that sharp pang of regret, the massive missed opportunity, and then in your mind hear your own voice, clear as day, saying, had I known about the concert, I would have been there in a heartbeat.
Ah, so you link the grammar form directly to the feeling and the situation.
Precisely. You're teaching your brain when and why this structure exists, connecting it to a vivid emotion and context. Makes it much more likely to pop out naturally when needed.
That makes total sense. Okay, the theory and techniques are fascinating, but hearing how real people use this, that really brings it home. Do you have some stories for us?
I certainly do. Let's talk about Priya. She's a tech lead in Bangalore, India. Brilliant software architect, fantastic written English.
Okay.
But she absolutely dreaded the video calls with the San Francisco headquarters. You know, those fast-paced, everyone talking over each other, American-style meetings.
Yeah, they can be intense.
When she needed to challenge an idea or defend her team's approach, she'd just freeze. The words wouldn't come. Total blank.
Whew, that sounds incredibly stressful. So how did visualization help her get past that freeze response?
Priya started using the successful conversation rehearsal. Every single morning, just for 15 minutes, she'd visualize the daily stand-up meeting.
The specific meeting?
Yep. She'd picture her American colleague, let's call him Dave, questioning one of her team's decisions. But instead of mentally panicking, she visualized herself taking a slow, calm breath. Maybe a slight smile, and then replying with a clear, assertive phrase she'd prepared beforehand. Something like, that's a valid point, Dave, but let me quickly walk you through our data on this.
So rehearsing the exact moment.
Over and over. And crucially, focusing on the feeling of being calm, in control, respected.
And did it work? What happened in the real meeting?
Well, after about 2 weeks of doing this consistently, the situation actually happened. Dave questioned her team's timeline in the real meeting.
Okay, moment of truth.
Instead of that usual wave of panic, Priya said she felt this weird sense of familiarity, like her brain recognized the scene.
Because she'd run the simulation so many times.
Exactly. And almost automatically, the phrase she'd rehearsed just came out, calmly, clearly, confidently. She said it was a massive turning point for her. The mental practice built a bridge over that anxiety chasm.
That's a brilliant example. Pre-building a successful outcome.
Yeah.
Okay, what about someone needing, maybe not confidence, but more expressiveness, more passion in their English?
Good example. Let's take Marco. He's a historical tour guide in Rome.
Oh, cool job.
Yeah. And his knowledge of Roman history, off the charts. Huge vocabulary in English, too. But his tours, they felt a bit flat, like he was reciting facts, a lecture almost. The passion he felt wasn't quite coming through in English.
Right, the delivery wasn't matching the knowledge, so how did he spice things up?
Marco combined vocabulary cinema with something he called mental storyboarding. Before giving a tour, he'd mentally walk the route, say, through the Roman Forum. At each key spot, he wouldn't just review the facts. He'd create a vivid mental movie. For Caesar's assassination near the theater of Pompeii, he'd visualize the whole scene, the senators, the togas, the glint of daggers, the tension.
Wow.
Then he'd mentally rehearse telling the story right there, imagining the dramatic pauses, the emotional emphasis, linking the words to the actual place.
So turning facts into mental movies and rehearsing the performance. Did it change his tours?
Completely transformed them, apparently. He moved from just translating historical points in his head to actually performing a compelling story. His gestures became more natural, his voice more engaging. He started getting rave reviews, specifically mentioning his captivating storytelling. Visualization helped him unlock that performance layer.
That's fantastic. From facts to narrative. Okay, one more. What about that really common fear, public speaking? Especially in a non-native language.
Right, let's look at Yuna. She was a PhD candidate from Seoul, getting ready for her first big international conference presentation in Berlin.
High stakes again.
Very. Her written English was impeccable, absolutely flawless. But she was terrified of speaking in public, worried about her accent, worried she'd sound, quote, robotic. Perfectionism plus anxiety tough combo.
Definitely. So how did Yuna tackle that intense fear to deliver her important research?
She used a few visualization tools together, She did the mental mouth technique quite intensely, shadowing speakers on TED Science Talks to really nail the rhythm and intonation of academic English.
Okay, working on prosody.
But the main thing was total performance visualization. For weeks leading up to it, she would mentally rehearse the entire experience.
The whole thing.
Yep. Waking up that morning feeling calm, walking to the conference hall, seeing the audience filling the room, stepping onto the stage, feeling the clicker in her hand, visualizing herself delivering her opening line confidently with a smile. She even rehearsed the Q&A, picturing herself understanding questions easily and giving clear answers.
That's incredibly detailed preparation. So what happened on the actual day?
Well, she was still nervous. I mean, who wouldn't be? But the terror was gone. She said the whole process felt weirdly familiar, like she'd already done it dozens of times. Walking on stage wasn't this huge leap into the unknown. It felt like replaying a scene. And when she started speaking, her voice was much steadier than she'd expected. She'd basically paved the way mentally.
Those stories really hammer it home. It makes it feel achievable. But clearly, consistency is vital. You can't just do it once. How do we realistically weave this into a busy daily life?
Absolutely, it has to become a habit. One easy way is what I call the 5-minute morning primer, while you're having your first coffee or tea instead of scrolling your phone.
Guilty.
Yeah. Close your eyes for just 5 minutes. Set an intention for your English that day. And visualize one specific interaction, maybe a meeting, a phone call going really well, smoothly, confidently. It primes your brain for success right at the start of the day.
Okay, 5 minutes, that's doable. What about, say, commute time?
Perfect for the commute rehearsal. If you listen to English podcasts or news, pause it occasionally. Take just 2 minutes to mentally rehearse discussing that topic. What's your opinion? How would you phrase it? You're turning passive listening into active mental speaking practice.
I like that. Active mental practice. And what about right before a big moment, when the nerves kick in?
That's where the 2-minute pre-performance boost comes in. Right before that important call, meeting, presentation, find a quiet corner, even a bathroom stall works.
Yeah.
Run a super quick, high-speed mental simulation of just the first 30 seconds going perfectly. See yourself smiling, sounding great, feeling confident. It's like a quick mental warm-up sprint for your brain. Gets it in the zone.
Nice. A quick boost. And after the fact, how do we learn from interactions, good or bad, without just dwelling on mistakes?
Great question. That's the corrective end-of-day review. At night, take a minute to reflect. If an English interaction went well, mentally replay it. Feel the success again. That reinforces the positive pathways. If an interaction went poorly, and this is key, don't just replay the failure and feel bad. Re-edit the memory.
Re-edit. How?
In your mind, replay the scene, but this time, visualize yourself handling it perfectly, saying the right thing, feeling confident. This corrective visualization helps your brain learn the better way without cementing the negative experience and feeling of failure. You're optimizing your memory for next time.
These are really practical, bite-sized ways to build the habit.
Okay.
Let's go further. For those aiming for C2, where language gets more abstract, more nuanced, what are some advanced visualization tricks? It seems hard to visualize, say, ambivalence.
You've nailed the next challenge, visualizing the abstract. Words like ambivalence, concepts like cultural hegemony, they don't have obvious pictures. The solution is to create concrete metaphors or mini stories. For ambivalence, that feeling of having mixed, conflicting feelings, visualize yourself standing in front of 2 doors. Both look appealing. You want what's behind both, but you can only pick one. Feel that pull in 2 directions, that tension of indecision, that feeling, that image becomes your anchor for the word.
Ah, okay, making the abstract feeling concrete. And if for something complex like cultural hegemony?
Same idea. Visualize a huge, powerful radio tower representing the dominant culture. It's broadcasting its music so loud that it completely drowns out these smaller local musicians nearby who are playing their own unique, beautiful tunes. You can't even hear them. That image instantly captures the core idea that subtle, pervasive dominance silencing other voices.
Wow, that's a powerful image. Okay, what about overcoming that internal critic? That voice of self-doubt that holds us back even when we know the stuff.
Yeah, sometimes the biggest block is, well, your own anxieties, your feeling of, I'm just a learner. That's where the alter ego technique can be surprisingly powerful.
Alter ego, like a secret identity.
Kind of. Create your fluent alter ego. Give them a name, maybe Alex or Sophia. Define them. How do they stand? What's their mindset? Maybe they see speaking English as a fun game, not a test. They're witty, articulate, unfazed.
Okay, I've got my Alex in mind. Then what?
Before a challenging English situation, you mentally put on the Alex suit. For this meeting, this conversation, you're not you, the slightly nervous learner. You are Alex, the confident communicator.
It sounds a bit like acting.
It is, in a way. It creates psychological distance from your own self-doubt. It gives you permission to step outside your perceived limitations and just perform. It can be incredibly liberating.
That's a fascinating mental trick. Okay, final advanced tip.
Yeah.
How do we make these visualizations even more potent, more real?
We upgrade them to what I call a 4D cinematic experience through multi-sensory immersion. When you're doing your mental rehearsals, consciously engage all the senses.
All of them.
As many as possible. Don't just see the person you're talking to. Notice the tiny wrinkles by their eyes, the exact color of their shirt. Don't just hear their voice. Hear the intonation, maybe the faint hum of the air conditioning, a siren outside.
Okay, sight and sound.
Feel the solidness of the table under your hands, the warmth of your coffee mug, the texture of a piece of paper. Is there a faint smell of coffee? What does the water you just sipped taste like?
Wow, really dialing up the detail.
Exactly. The more sensory data you feed into the simulation, the more real it feels to your brain, and the more powerful and lasting the effect on your performance and confidence.
This whole deep dive really underscores something important. That journey from C1 to C2. It's often less about piling on more knowledge and more about confidently, elegantly using the vast amount you already have.
Precisely. The barriers that are left are so often psychological. They're built from anxiety, from that inner critic, the fear of not being perfect.
So if we think about traditional practice, reading, writing, listening, speaking, that's like building the essential foundation and walls of your language house.
Right. Absolutely essential.
Then visualization. It's like the expert interior design. It arranges the furniture, hangs the pictures, sets the lighting.
I like that metaphor.
It transforms that functional structure into a place that feels comfortable, beautiful, truly livable. It's what turns the knowledge you have into the fluency you can do effortlessly.
Well put. And it's vital to remember this isn't magic.
No shortcuts.
No, it's disciplined, focused mental work. It doesn't replace physical practice. It complements and seriously amplifies it. It's that unseen advantage.
Yeah. It helps you prepare, conquer the nerves, make the language actually stick, and finally close that frustrating gap.
Between the brilliant English speaker inside your head and the one the world actually gets to hear.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this.
Your mind. It's the most sophisticated, most powerful, most personalized language lab you will ever own. It's right there.
Always accessible.
Always. It's time to switch on the lights in that lab, start running the simulations, and really step into becoming the fluent, fearless English speaker you were always meant to be.